Hi friends, my name is Kim. Welcome back to Healing Place Cottage. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so happy to have you with me today. Today we're going to do a video that's a little different. It's more about what I eat for breakfast, and I just happened to have picked my first zucchini out of my garden yesterday, and so I decided to show you a frittata that I make pretty frequently. And I've made frittatas on the channel before, but wanted to just share how simple it is to use good ingredients to prep for the week. I typically will make enough to eat for several days, and this has really been the game changer for me in losing weight, but also reducing my A1C. So a lot of you know my story. I went to the doctor in August of last year, and my A1C was 13.9. And I don't know specifically what my weight was at the time, but I do know that last year, at the beginning of the year, my weight was 278 pounds. And so when I went in August of last year, my doctor said she would be willing to, I had been to an endocrinologist, and he had been managing my diabetes, and my A1C just went up. And so she said that she would be willing to give me a try, but I would have to make some drastic changes, or I would need to see a different endocrinologist. And ironically, around the same time, my team at work, I work a full-time job, and my team at work had an off-site. And we were talking about, we were broken up into small groups, and we were talking about if you could do one thing that was just a dream, what would that be? And I spoke it into reality. I said I would make YouTube videos for people who are diabetic, who aren't necessarily nutritionists. I'm not a nutritionist, but I've been to a nutritionist, and I know based on that what foods I should be eating, what foods I shouldn't be eating, how I should combine them, etc. And I wanted to see somebody who looked like me, somebody who was really struggling with the making the changes in their everyday life. And although I appreciate the nutritionists, all of the nutritionists that I looked up on YouTube did not look like they had actually struggled with the same problems that I was struggling with. And so I just spoke that into reality. And so it just kind of hit me that, you know, here I am, this A1C of 13.9, I'm about 278 pounds, and I want to make these changes, and I also want to be able to have content to view that is someone like me, you know, going through the struggle on an everyday basis. And so in October, I think around October 13th, actually, I made my first video and posted it. And since then, I have, I think, 73 or 74 videos up. And I've learned a lot about foods that I want to cook. So my goal was, I know that when my mom was a diabetic, and when she went to the hospital, we lost her when she was 62 years old, but she was in and out of the hospital in the last 2 years before her death. And when she went to the hospital, she would groan and say, "Oh, they put me on the diabetic diet," and would have me go out and get her a cheeseburger, or go downstairs and get her a cheeseburger to eat. And the cheeseburger isn't the issue. It's the, it's more how many carbohydrates are we eating total? So are we eating that cheeseburger with a white bun with no fiber? And what are we eating with that? Are we eating French fries with that, or are we eating veggie sticks? What does our carbohydrate count look like? What does our total nutrition value look like as associated with that cheeseburger? So I wanted to be able to make recipes that people would get excited about. That they wouldn't be like, oh, I have to make a diabetic friendly recipe. I wanted to find recipes that would fit into a way of life for us to change our A1C, to reduce those numbers, but that we could still enjoy food. So that's what I feel like that I have done, or hopefully I have done, and continue to do. And I just wanted to now get to the point where I can share some of the things that I do on a regular basis to make me more successful. So I actually went to an event yesterday, and it was a volunteer event for work, and we did a food drive, and people from the neighborhood came in and picked up food from the food pantry, and we helped load it in their vehicles. And it was ironic because they gave away potatoes, and I thought, oh, here I am, I just canned potatoes for the first time. And so it makes it easier for me to put together these recipes when I already have some ingredients already put together. So I'm using my canned potatoes. I don't have peppers yet in my garden, so I went to Aldi on Saturday and picked up some fresh vegetables. If you're not an Aldi shopper, they're one of the best resources for inexpensive fresh vegetables. And I picked up peppers there. I'm going to use a onion, and I use a sweet onion. And just want to show you, like I said, this frittata that I'll make that will feed me most mornings this week. But anyway, yesterday I went to this event, and there was one of the local providers in the area, Premier, had a mobile unit there that they were doing free screenings of your A1C, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your current glucose. And I hadn't been fasting, but they said that was okay. They took that into account, and they had numbers for fasting and non-fasting. And I had just had my numbers taken in April, but I wanted to see how I was doing. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I used to be on insulin 4 times a day, and my doctor had me titrate off of that. And so I have not been on insulin for some time now. And I do still take one medication for diabetes, but for everything else, I am off of. And I wanted to see if I was still trending in the right direction. And we know that I also monitor my cholesterol, because in August of last year, my cholesterol, I believe, was 279 or 276, something in that range, which is high, and I can't take a statin. When I take a statin, my muscles hurt. I can barely raise my arms up halfway when I take a statin. So I have to use diet and exercise as my way of lowering my cholesterol. So I wanted to see how I was doing with those numbers, and my blood pressure was, I think, 90 something over 64, something really, really good. And my cholesterol was 176. They want it to be under 199, so my total cholesterol was 166. My good cholesterol had been 40 in April, and they want it to be over 50, and I went up 3, so I'm at 43 now. And my A1C had been 5.9 in April, and it was 5.7 yesterday. And my non-fasting glucose, which they want that to be under 130, I believe, and mine was 108. So I could not be more thrilled with how things are going. They're continuing to go in the right direction. But we're at the point where I have to include a little more exercise. The weight is not just coming off as quickly as it did in the beginning. And I was a huge carbohydrate eater, so I think the weight came off faster because I really, really reduced the number of carbs. I also reduced sweets. You know, my nutritionist said that I needed to not eat bananas and I needed to not eat oatmeal. And so, of course, those are two things that I love. So I was like, oh, my life's over. I can't eat bananas and I can't eat oatmeal. And I haven't. But I've also survived, and I'm not missing them. Do I think about oatmeal sometimes? Yes. But I ate the packets of oatmeal that had the, you know, apple cinnamon and all the sugar. So you not only had the spike in your blood sugar from the oatmeal itself, but also from all the sugar that was included. And old me would have used that as, oh, well, the reason I'm losing weight is because I had to stop eating oatmeal and bananas every day. Well, that isn't the case. I also ate Little Debbie's and Hostess cupcakes and any kind of cake or pie. Those were my weakness. I ate cookies. I ate all sorts of things that I should never have been eating. And there are times where I occasionally will still eat a sweet like that. But I find that by not eating them all the time, I'm also not craving them. And that was the biggest change that I found, because I'm someone who does not want to feel deprived. And I think psychologically that's what I thought would happen, is that I would feel very deprived by not being able to have whatever sweets it was that I wanted. But I feel so much better than I even knew that I could feel. Like, I didn't know how bad I felt until I felt as good as I feel now. And I was always one of those people that said, my weight does not affect my life. It didn't prevent me. I did 5Ks. It didn't prevent me from doing a lot of things. But what it did do, I had a fan with me at all times. I actually had battery-operated fans that I carried around with me all the time. I was constantly drinking water. I had a water bottle with me at all times and was constantly drinking water. I didn't get on the floor with my grandkids. And now I get on the floor with my grandkids and I'm not afraid of getting up. And it's just so many little things that have changed that that surprised me, because I didn't know they were issues before I felt the way I feel now. So I normally would make this with milk, but I don't have any milk, so I'm going to use heavy cream because that's what I have. Just going to make it a lot richer. It does increase the fat, but does not increase the carbohydrates. And I found recently this roasted garlic and herb seasoning, and I'm going to use that in my eggs. some cheese, some mild cheddar or sharp cheddar. What is this? Sharp cheddar. I'm going to add a little bit of water. And I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. We're just going to pop that in the oven. Okay, so it took about 25 minutes. And this is light and fluffy and gorgeous. Whoop. I don't have a good spatula for this. So it is piping hot. So we will give it a minute to cool because, like I said, it's piping hot. And I hope that you enjoyed a little bit learning more about my story today. I thought it was important to share because I focus so much on the recipes that I haven't focused on the 67 pounds lost and how I got to that point. Of wanting to lose the weight and get my A1C down, but how I actually do it. And so one of the things that I'm focusing on is what I eat in a week. So this is a basic recipe that I will eat all week for breakfast. And then I'll focus more on what do I eat for lunch, what do I eat for dinner, that sort of thing. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I will tell you that the calories involved in this are 296. I said this was about 8 servings. 15.7 grams of fat, only 7.2 grams of carbs, and 1.3 grams of fiber, and 8 grams of protein. Let's give this a taste. I'm excited because I canned potatoes and I think zucchinis from my garden. And it's delicious. It's light, airy, flavors are spot on. This, if you have access to this, and I got this from Walmart. So it's Weber roasted garlic and herb seasoning. And the herbs in it are dried garlic, salt, spices, red pepper. It is the bomb. So I hope that you liked today's video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up or a like. You can subscribe to my channel on YouTube where I post longer content like I have today. But you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. On TikTok, I edit the videos so they're very, very basic and short, or shorter than they are on YouTube, and gives you mostly just the recipes. But I really enjoyed our time together today. I will post this video, will come out Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I always post on Tuesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. Always diabetic friendly, often low carb, slow cooker, gluten-free, or even vegetarian. I really enjoyed our time together today. I enjoyed sharing part of my journey with you, and I look forward to cooking with you again soon. Take care, friends.